Taurus, this is your week ahead astrology forecast for May 4th to the 10th. I got it all written down for you of 2023. This video is going to cover the major planetary aspects and transits that are happening between May 4th and May 10th, so this week, and how they are relating to your natal sun, and subsequent to that, how they play out or how that impacts your day-to-day. We're going to go into the big stuff first that affects everybody, and then we'll focus down to those things that Tauruses especially should be focused on, but all Tauruses. And then we'll end up at a place where we are digging down into specifics for your natal sun. Now, how do I know where your natal sun is? I don't, but you do. And if you don't, it's okay. You don't need to know where your natal sun is. I will be able to tell you the relative dates that are being impacted by this, and then you'll know if that's your birthday or if your birthday fits into those dates. But the most accurate way to know where your natal sun is to grab your natal chart. You can do that for free online. Any number of websites do it. You'll need your birth date, which you have, the birth time and birthplace, all of which are available on your birth certificate. You plug that information in, it spits out a natal chart, and you'll know exactly where all your planets are located. If your natal sun is located somewhere between 0 and 9 degrees Taurus, you are a Taurus 1. If your natal sun is located somewhere between 10 and 19 degrees Taurus, you are a Taurus 2. And if your natal sun is located between 20 and 29 degrees Taurus, you are a Taurus 3. So let's get into the larger perspective here. The biggest thing that's happening this week is we do have a full moon in Scorpio that's also a lunar eclipse. It's a penumbral lunar eclipse, which means it's not in the darkest part of the Earth's shadow, but it will be covered by Earth's shadow. It's just not the darkest part of Earth's shadow. If you're in any of the Americas, you will not be able to see this. But if you are the east of Africa, most of Western Europe, all of Asia, India, into Australia, you will be able to see this. So if you want to clip some photos and send them to me, I would love to, because I think it's going to be beautiful. This lunar eclipse full moon is in Scorpio, which means there's a lot of changes and a lot of release, especially from those things that people have tried to hide. So be ready, because there's major discoveries that are going to be happening, or major emotions that are going to be finally purged, but they're going to be hurtful. Like, they're going to be, it's not going to be nice stuff that's purged, but it's the toxins that have to get out. So it's a great thing that it's happening, but it could be very, very troubling in some ways. There's definitely eureka moments that are going to happen, because the sun during this full moon is conjunct to Uranus, which loves to surprise people, and Mercury retrograde, which dredges up all sorts of problems. So this is when it all comes out. But I think overall it's a eureka moment. It's a eureka moment because we need the purge, and it's like the stuff we've held on to for too long finally gets ripped from our claw-like grasp. So sometimes freedom doesn't always feel good in the beginning, but ultimately it's exactly what needs to happen to get the flow moving again. This is happening at 15 degrees. The moon is at 15 degrees Scorpio. The sun is at 15 degrees Taurus. So this is directly impacting especially Taurus 2s. But I think everybody is going to feel this, but especially all of Tauruses. But Taurus 2, you guys are the ones that are conjunct the sun while this is happening. So expect this to have tremendous impact on your day. Eureka moments, discoveries, also surprise issues or problems that come up. They're deep rooted. They're not just happening today. They've been there for a while. It's coming up today. But we'll get into that we'll get into that deeper in a second. Another big transit that's happening this week is Venus. Venus is your ruling dignitary, so it definitely impacts you directly as well. But Venus is now moving into Cancer. Venus moves into Cancer on the 7th of this week. And she likes Cancer a lot. She's a lot more comfortable there. Taurus has a natural sextile to Cancer. There's a lot of harmony there. The moon feels really, really good in Cancer, and Venus feels really, really good the moon feels really, really good in Taurus, and Venus feels really, really good in Cancer. So this is a happy, cozy place for her, where she is looking for, she wants things to be long term, and she takes love seriously and is very open-hearted and demonstrative. It is very easy for her to be very loving. Anybody with a Venus in Cancer is probably ooey gooey and gushes love and falls in love very easily. Just an FYI. And then we have a large aspect that's happening, large because of the energy it generates. This is Pluto square Jupiter, and Pluto square Jupiter square Mars. So Pluto and Mars are in opposition this week, and Pluto is square to Jupiter and Mars is square to Jupiter, the same alike. So it's like they're forming this major block in the sky. What it is pressure. It's like a vice. It's putting pressure on a situation, so there's an even bigger explosion that's going to happen. I call this the roto-rooter of astrology, because it is relentless, and it'll break down any wall it has to, and it will not take any prisoners. So just stand back. That's what makes this full moon even potentially more explosive. I think it's a good thing. I think what's going to be relieved and what's going to be blown up are sicknesses and things that have been defective, and that's a really wonderful, that's a really wonderful energy, to be liberated from that. But we should definitely watch out, because when Pluto is in opposition to Mars, there's almost too much ruthlessness and relentlessness, and there could be just an energy of people being really mean to each other, or toxicity to each other, or relentless, or just thinking too much of. It's gonna be some shit this week. That's all. I don't. I know, Taurus. I wish I could articulate it better. Feel free to leave the comments below so that you tell me how you're experiencing this energy. But we're gonna get into exactly how it's going to be impacting you. So Venus, let's go into Venus, because she impacts you all the time. Always know where Venus is, because whatever zodiac sign she's in is kind of going to color your energy while she's in it. She is transiting from Gemini, 26 degrees Gemini, into Cancer, 3 degrees. So she's moving about 7 degrees, she's moving about 6 degrees, transiting into Cancer. She's much happier in Cancer. While she does this, she is sextile to Jupiter, and she is square to Neptune. Square to Neptune, Venus square Neptune is rose-colored glasses, like a little bit too foggy-minded and believing too much in dreams. It's easy for her to be taken advantage of or fall too hard for something that's not worth it. But she is also sextile to Jupiter. And I think that means that even though she might have this energy of just being too gullible, her gullibility might actually work out for her this week because of that beautiful sextile to Jupiter. So let's get into the decans, shall we? No, not yet. First, we go over Taurus. The zodiac sign of Taurus has 3 planets in it. It has Mercury, the Sun, and Uranus in it. Uranus has been there for quite some time. It is now at 18 degrees Taurus. It will continue to be there until I think 2026. Uranus moves very slowly. And it brings change. It brings rebellion. It brings just strange things that you don't understand why all of a sudden you want something completely different. But that's it. It's like Uranus is oppositional behavior. That's what it is. Mercury is in retrograde. It will retrograde between 9 and 6 degrees Taurus this week, which means it is in Decan 1 of Taurus. And then the Sun is in Decan 2. It's going to transit between 14 and 19 degrees Taurus. So it is in Decan 2. Absolutely during the full moon it is in Decan 2. And Uranus is also in the second Decan 2 of Taurus. Decan 3, you guys, your suns are not conjunct anything. But let's get into what 1 is experiencing. So Taurus 1, if you are at the very cusp of Aries, you are square to Mars. Not anybody else, because you're just too far out to really feel it, but just watch it for you guys, especially this week. When your sun is square to Mars, you tend to be egotistical to the point of injuring yourself because you're just being too impulsive. So please don't take too many chances or try to prove yourself by doing something radical, because it probably will lead to injury. Just an FYI. Your natal suns, all your natal suns are sextile to Venus by the 7th of this week when she moves into Cancer, especially those of you that are born at the beginning or the Aries cusp. But by, I would say by the 10th, she is definitely going to be close enough. She's going to be sextile to all of you. So what does that mean? Romance. It means abundance. This is a great time to change your look, change your hair, change aesthetics, or make aesthetic decisions. It's also a great time to purchase things. Not shop a lot, but like it's a great time to find great opportunities and great bargains for large ticket items. So this is actually an opportunistic time for you when it comes to anything of value or feeling valued, and you are also a high value item this week. So any place you want to shine or you really want positive attention, take your chances, because that is, but like I said, with aesthetics and value, when it comes to taking your chances with your physical body or with activity or action, don't, because your suns are square to Mars, and that could very much lead to injury. Your natal suns are conjunct the North Node and conjunct Mercury retrograde. So I think now you are in more of an exploratory and an investigative mood. Your mind is looking into and thinking back a lot, only for enlightenment. The sun conjunct Mercury is brilliant energy, and in retrograde it's kind of going over what it's already been through, or you're experiencing things coming back over to you that you think that you have to go over them again, but it's for a good reason. There's a lot to be discovered there. And conjunct North Node just means you're future focused, that you are ready now to focus on your future and to see yourself as who you are becoming instead of who you were. So overall, a really positive and progressive week. Taurus 2, your suns are conjunct the current sun, and I say here, and your suns are in direct opposition to the full moon in Scorpio on the 5th. You're also conjunct, your natal suns are also conjunct Uranus, and they have for a while. This is a eureka moment. This is the surprising, odd, I can't believe I discovered this, holy moly, this has to happen. Passionate about equalizing things, discovering things, inventing or engineering things. All of this could be going on, so your mind is really bright, and during that full moon this will be an amazing discovery, and it's you guys that might say, I knew I was right about this. I finally found what I needed to found. See, I got the proof. I'll show you the receipts. It's that kind of moment, the 4th, 5th, and 6th of this week, because of that full moon. Money matters because the sun is in Taurus. It can be shining light on specific money matters or ways that money was being used. Just an FYI. Used but hidden, because remember that moon is in Scorpio, and that's where you hide shit. You know what I'm saying? You could just discover hidden money. Interesting. Taurus 3s. Your natal suns are going to be square to Saturn, sextile to Mars, and sextile to Neptune. Now, sextile to Neptune is interesting this week, only because Neptune, I think, is square to Venus. But ultimately, that's a long-term transit that you've been experiencing for a while. What this means is that you're extremely creative. When your natal sun is sextile to Neptune, you're thinking, you're creating. You're creating. It's not even thinking outside of the box. There is no box. There's just so much creative energy. Put the energy. You'll have opportunities to do things. You'll want to do things, more artistic things. You'll want to try them and experience them. It's a great way to use the energy this week. It's a great way to use the energy in general, because this will be a long-term, it'll be a long-term aspect. And so if you are becoming more creative and drawn more to the creative parts of yourself, allow it to happen. It's meant to happen. This is why you're experiencing this. But this week, you are sextile, your sun is sextile to Mars. So there is a lot of vitality and additional energy, feeling like you can keep up with things that you hadn't kept up with before, making motions, making waves, taking action. This is all things you'll have opportunities to do and will go very, very well for you this week. There is a long-term aspect, a square to Saturn, which just means laws, rules, regulations, and authority figures, or maybe even obligations and contracts are being a pain in the ass. Go slow, take your time. They'll be extra frustrating, but you can get through this and you'll learn a lot when you do. That's for the whole next year, just an FYI. Let me know in the comments below how you guys are experiencing this energy. And I hope to see you over on Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card reading. Before you leave, go ahead and click that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so that you'll know when I upload your favorite content next week. I'll see you guys. Bye.